What's up? Get your teach on. Happy Monday, happy morning, afternoon, night, whenever you are listening. Welcome to the Flip Side, a Get Your Teach On podcast where we break down, share, and challenge flip perspectives and insights on different hot topics in education. And this is going to be a good one today. We have our friend Leonard Galloway, Assistant Superintendent of Anderson District 5 here in South Carolina. Hope and Wade's home district. Hope and Wade are here as well. We have a great episode all about the focus.
It's not Hope's home district, it's mine.
Oh. Clarification, okay. Wade's
home
county.
That wouldn't have been good enough for his home district.
Oh, there we go.
No,
Is that what it was?
No, it's not true. We'll talk about
Can I keep going with the episode, please?
Yeah.
We'll get it. Save it for the couch. Save it for the couch. But we're excited to have Leonard here talking all things. Today's an interesting and I think it's one of the hottest topics right now. Focus on curriculum within schools and districts or best practices and instruction. And where is the kind of divide when it comes to that and talking about the different perspectives there. So we're so excited to have him here on another episode of The Flip Side.
Okay, let's talk about, hold on a second. Let's talk about that.
Oh, we cannot move on until we get there. Go
I have
ahead.
to speak my piece.
Oh my goodness.
So
Also, I'm going to cut you off first. The way I was coached on how to properly say the district.
that's right.
Anderson District 5.
A5.
Got pride.
A5.
Baby.
We love
So I
A5, A4.
grew up in the Pendleton Anderson 4 district, which is,
it. Couple dogs.
I'm just saying, one of the most phenomenal districts in the state.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Bulldog.
I worked there.
Literally.
I know.
But
Teacher of the year in that district.
can I talk about my home?
I'm just saying, I love your home district too.
You obviously liked mine better since you came to work for it. But I went to Pendleton High School. Okay. Wade went to, now that's in Anderson 4. Wade went to TL Hanna and Anderson 5. And they frowned upon Pendleton.
Kid, that is a lie.
They
like
looked
rivals.
down on us.
Rivals.
They frowned upon us.
No, we're not rivals.
'Cause we were country folk who literally was 10 minutes away from their school as
You
if it's not
are
country.
country.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We are
Exactly.
literally in South Carolina.
Exactly.
There are
Exactly.
cows on every
I
corner.
was not
Pendleton
country,
people
though. I
were
was from the
never good
beach.
enough for TL Hanna people because they drove all the expensive cars and did all the, and so now we have a Hanna boy married to a Pendleton girl.
You are all
What it
just
was.
country. I have no words for that. It's country means
But
country.
Wade had a super nice car.
What car did you have?
I'm not talking about that.
A Chevrolet Lumina. It was literally neon blue.
When I went to Hannah, I had a Mercedes. So,
You had, or you rode with someone who had?
what?
Yeah, same. I had a BMW.
You did?
My rich friend.
Yeah, and I had a Tesla back in the day. Yeah.
But no, we love Anderson 5
did
and
not have
Anderson
BMW.
4. I mean, I was a kind of a so I grew up in Anderson 5. I went to elementary school, Concord Elementary School at Anderson 5. Then I went to 6th grade at McCants Middle School, and then I moved away to the beach. And then I moved back to Anderson School District 5.
There will be a quiz after this.
My junior year of high school, which I was in shock and awe. Like they were like, this was the days to where, I think they're back. I don't know, Birkenstocks.
Oh, yeah.
So Birkenstocks, polos, all the things.
The
and
clogs or the slides?
clogs. Remember the Birkenstock clogs? Okay, people wearing those. And I was like, what is
I
happening?
feel like, are they back with socks?
I don't
But
know.
I mean, to your point, I'm not sure though, because it seems like all Pendleton girls like Hannah guys, or is it vice versa? You married me, so
Or you married me, so
I'm just saying.
anyways.
But there was no
And we
ill
lived
blood.
happily ever after.
Yes, we did.
No ill blood between Pendleton and Hannah.
Who
Big
you talk to?
blood, bad blood between Hannah and Westside. Westside was on the cross.
And for all the listeners who have no idea what we're talking about,
Romeo and
Welcome to
Juliet,
our
here we
small
are.
hometown.
welcome to the country.
Welcome
I
to
guess.
the flip side.
Yeah, I have no idea either, so we're on the same page.
Okay, now these chicken nuggets that you
Exact-
brought to now
for-
4 episodes.
Yeah, these chicken nuggets have been sitting on this chair.
For now 4 episodes.
For-
I don't even know how. Surely you
They
bought
keep
new ones.
coming back.
I mean, I think that was a great intro for that one. I mean, we got to talk about things.
We need to know about these chicken nuggets because
well, you
that
got
have been sat on.
So these McDonald's chicken nuggets are from Maverick's lunch that he
They are
didn't really
crusty.
eat.
I can see that. It looks so
and
old.
Here, you don't have to eat it, but I want you to take one.
Okay.
So I'm passing them out.
Where are we going
This
with
one.
this?
We are.
Here's
If
one.
you're listening
Wow,
to Get
they're
Ready to School,
cold.
we are literally
They're-
being passed ice cold fake
it
chicken nuggets
smells
are being
so good,
thrown
though.
across the room.
They still smell so good, don't they? Smell it. Take a whiff.
No, they don't.
All right. So this chicken nugget, open it up real quick. What is on the inside of this nugget? What is that?
Fake meat.
No, it is. This is not fake. That is white, luscious. What? What type of
Horse meat.
Chicken.
It's chicken.
Chicken.
So, Maverick and I and Hope and
This
your
episode
mom-
is sponsored by McDonald's.
I wish. Oh man,
Call us.
we and Chris, we were all just in Indiana this past few days or whatnot ago, and we went. Hope and I and Maverick and your mom went to the Children's Museum. Had a great time. Y'all left. Maverick and I just keep rumbling around, looking at different things, and we go to the dinosaur exhibit.
Is this an object lesson?
This is an object lesson
Okay.
ish.
So everyone just driving in their car listening, we are literally sitting here holding a chicken nugget in half.
Here, you can actually put it back down if you want. So I'll pass this around if you don't want to hang on to it. But it's there because chicken nuggets.
I want the full experience.
Yeah, I want the full experience too.
So we go to the dinosaur exhibit. and-
Chicken. McDonald's had mac and cheese?
no, that's Panera.
Okay. That was that's different. I was like, wait, this was a new
Squirrel.
development.
So we go to the dinosaur exhibit and they have real paleontologists in the background, like digging these fossils out and all the things.
Real paleontologists.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I got photos and videos and all the things. And so Maverick and I,
I think they're actors playing paleontologists.
no, they were a full thing.
Just because they had goggles and a
The
tool.
Children's Museum.
Okay, I
has
mean,
real
the
paleontologists.
Indiana
No,
Children's
I'm
Museum
dead
is superior,
serious.
but-
No, like yes, they
Qualified, certified. They saw T-Rexes.
Okay, let's go.
Anyway, so they're doing all that behind glass, and we walk down to the next whatever look through thing, and I look through, and the window's open. So these may be actors or something, some people working, but this man says, "Hey, yeah, anything in here you can touch. So if you can reach out, you can touch it." Because do you want to touch a real dinosaur? And Maverick's like, "Yes, I would love to do that." So Maverick reaches out, it touches the dinosaur fossil, whatever. He goes, "You're touching a dinosaur right now." So then he starts
Coming from the real paleontologist.
I don't know if this one was. I think he just worked at the museum. But he was very knowledgeable, loved dinosaurs. He's talking to us, number one, about dinosaurs like the long necks. They had different amount of bones in their necks because of how long it was. Then he used the example of
Like a brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus, the Diplodocus, you name it, right? So all of those things. And then in the background, he had a huge neck bone of a giraffe. And he goes, "Did you know that all mammals have this amount?" I think it's 7, not sure. Every mammal, doesn't matter what type of mammal it is, has the same amount of neck bones. The reason why giraffes have longer necks, the bones are bigger. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. He said, "Did you know something else? Do you like chicken nuggets?" And Maverick loves some chicken nuggies. And he goes, "Yeah, I do. I love chicken nuggets." And the guy goes, "When you eat chicken nuggets, do you know what you're really eating?" And Maverick goes, "Chicken?" And he goes, "You're really eating a dinosaur." So my point here, what I want to ask you guys, he said that dinosaurs, this is dinosaur meat. He says dinosaurs turned into chickens. And when you do DNA tests and all of those things, if you look at them, there's evidence for it, not only with like the DNA of dinosaurs turning into chickens and birds evolved. Yes, they evolved into chickens. But also, if they found with their bones, dinosaur bones, certain species of dinosaur bones, like the Allosaurus, their bones are hollow, just like birds' bones are hollow. Not only that, dinosaurs did what? They laid eggs, right? Birds lay eggs, whatnot. But when a female dinosaur is ovulating, they found out like in their blood cells and the bones, it calcifies and there's more red, I don't know how they figure this out, more red blood cells inside of those bones. They're supposed to be hollow. Same thing happens with birds. So also feathers with dinosaurs have been also found. So do you think this chicken nugget is really
I'll just go with yes.
a dino nugget?
I think this man it would just grew up on eating dino nuggets from his mom out of the bag and now has convinced himself that
I think that's some solid facts.
But is it more fun to think that
Ew,
it's
you
dinosaur
just
nugget?
ate that.
That's so good.
dinosaurs are huge and chickens are so tiny.
Well, I think they were tiny dinosaurs.
It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Dinos.
An ostrich is pretty big. I mean, look at a T-Rex arms. How long are T-Rex arms?
Never seen one.
Well, they're like this big. So birds don't need arms. Anyway,
Wow, what a fascinating story. Thank you for bringing that historical context to the podcast.
I just want to see if you agree
I
or
had
not.
no clue when we were talking about chicken nuggets.
That's not where I was taking it.
Where we were going.
That's not where I was going.
I thought it was a dip challenge or something, but the more you know, from the real paleontologist of Indianapolis.
Let's go.
We'll have to ask Leonard his thoughts on chickens and dinos.
Some of our friends don't even believe dinosaurs existed.
Cheered lemons.
Huh? Jared Lemon.
There's that. All right, we're going to dive in. We're going to be right back with Leonard as we dive into today's episode of The Flip Side. Leonard, if you only knew what we just had to be put through, Wade has shifted seats a little bit. Leonard Galloway's in the house. Wade is trying to convince us that chicken nuggets are a descendant from dinosaurs.
Well, I'm not a chicken nugget fan.
But you are an assistant superintendent, so what
you
do
are a
you
Chick-fil-A.
think?
Yeah, I'm a Chick-fil-A fan.
Yeah.
Not a McDonald's Chick-fil-A.
So what do you think? What came first, the chicken or the dinosaur? No, I'm just kidding. We are so excited to have you here. Congratulations. Recent promotion. Done a million things.
I
But
appreciate it.
before we get started, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hey, I'm Leonard Galloway from Anderson, South Carolina. I am a homeboy.
That's right.
I graduated in our school district. I went to Anderson University.
That's right.
Same.
Got married when I was 18 years old. And then with the firm, I mean, like when I say I'm a homeboy, I never went anywhere. And I was for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, my parents are here, my whole family, the entire family here, and I wanted my kids to be raised around my family.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, because family is very important to me. Once all this stuff is over with, my career is over with, I'm still gonna have my family.
That's
It's still
right.
gonna have me.
That's right.
So anyway, I decided, you know, actually when I went to Anderson University, my first year, I was a business major, and realized I didn't like it because I was working at the YMCA, and I was like, my mindset was this: well, why not go into a profession where I can get paid for playing with children beyond the switch?
Yeah.
So I changed to elementary, and then my student teaching in the Anderson School District 5, and from my student teaching position to where I'm at now with my current position, it's all been in Anderson 5. So some people may see that as a negative because I didn't step outside, but the thing about it, I feel like I have a purpose in serving my community because my community has been very great to me. And is a positive too when I know who I can talk to.
Yeah.
And at one point I was the principal in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and you know, I'm calling parents, and my nickname is Scooter. And so sometimes I would have to call as Mr. Galloway.
Yeah.
But it's those moments when I would call as Scooter that were more effective. I mean, because they knew
That is
it was
true,
coming
though.
from a guy that they grew up with.
That's right.
So it's not, and sometimes the school system or going into school can be something that a lot of parents don't like going to because of previous experience they've had.
That's right.
So I think the more opportunities we have to build relationships, because I'm a relationship type of person, with our parents, with our community, then the benefit
So
of
good
our
at
kids
that.
is going to be.
You're so good. Now, also, Wade, tell us what kind of teachers
Please don't do that.
Wade really wants.
Wait, I don't think I know this.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, go ahead.
Tell me
We'll
more.
let Leonard give us the truth.
I probably would not be here as an educator if it wasn't for Leonard. Do you not know this at all?
No.
All right, so I'll say this, and I'll let Leonard take over because it is what it is. I did my practicum, so it's what you do before student teaching. I did that with Leonard Galloway. He was an elementary.
How did you find Leonard?
They place you.
Oh, just okay.
So we
Luck of the draw. You just got the best of the best.
Really?
Anderson University, Anderson University, Anderson University. So I'm going.
Numbered. I get it.
Yep. We're winners over here.
That's right.
You guys have a mascot?
Yeah, we're the Trojans.
Okay.
That's right.
Trojans, that's what we are. Black and gold, baby. But anyway, obviously, elementary major, you get this. There's not a lot of guy teachers out there.
Right.
So, former alum, obviously, so they pair me with him, go over to Nevitt Forest, do my practice.
What did you wear your first day when you went to Leonard's
don't.
class?
I could,
That's what I want.
Man,
Leonard, what do you?
the whole
Leonard,
company say, I can't remember.
I bet it was board shorts and with a short sleeve button down tucked in and a tie, board shorts. And like, man,
I don't remember what he wore, but I remember that. I do remember this part, and I'm not going to take away from it, but
God.
what Wade impact and the kids would draw, the way he can draw kids to him, and they knew that he had their back. I think that's what has taken him to where he's at now. But anyway, I didn't want to throw that in there because that is something
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, sometimes we just need to hear things, right?
Yeah.
It makes you feel good.
He's a words of affirmation guy.
I am, but no, I did my practicum underneath Leonard, and then I was supposed to continue my student teaching under Leonard. And then he calls me super early in the morning. It was summertime right before school starts. He says, "Hey, Wade, I got some bad news. You're not gonna be able to do your student teaching with me. I just got the job of being assistant principal at Nevitt Forest, but we would still love to have you come out and be a student teacher." And I'm like, all right, I say on the phone, that's awesome. But in my mind, I'm like, heck no. I don't want to go there because I want to be underneath Leonard. And then I hung up the phone, and then I thought about it. I was like, no, Leonard's still going to be there, and he's still in charge, still be able to learn from him. And I had a fantastic experience there as well underneath Christy. And so student taught basically underneath Leonard, graduated college in December, did long-term sub position there because hiring freeze. Anderson 5 was not hiring at the time. They wanted to hire me the next year, still hiring freeze, no vacancies in Anderson 5. And so that's how I got the job over in Anderson 4. But he's been a mentor of mine forever. He does a lot of stuff, obviously, with Get Your Lead On, Get Your Teach On. We're homegrown, and yeah, we ain't never leaving each other. But we also taught, so we worked after school program together.
That's right.
That's how we first met for the YMCA summer counselor.
Yes, and we're abundant for life.
And so
Red Rover, come on over.
On Wade's hierarchy of best people in the
I'm
world.
telling you.
I know. He's getting
up here. We shared inhalers and all the things.
That's right. Asthmatic till we die.
You're an asthmatic.
Literally till we die.
So if we sound like we're out of breath when we talk on this podcast, we are.
That's
People are going to be listening in their car. It's going to be the whole time on this episode.
We're going to give them anxiety for
That's right.
for our breathing.
Some about the microphones are just inhalers.
Yeah.
Do you lose yours as much as Wade?
I do.
So this is a thing. Like, I think
What is wrong with...
I think that
How
needs
is
to
that
be-
possible?
You know how babies have like pacifier clips?
Yeah. I bet it exists.
There needs to be an inhaler.
It has to exist.
I have one in my office at work, one in my vehicle, and one at home.
You need to zip those little zip cords, like the ID cord.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
They all have them too.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, we all have them in our backpacks
we need-
because he loses them that much.
Yeah,
Or like a little, like, you know those big phones they used to have that you can have a clip right here and you pop it in on the side? That,
Yeah.
that.
That's like superhero power.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
But the roles somewhat changed. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, Wade talking about, I'm a mentor, things of that nature, but I've learned so much from you all. I mean, the positions that you all are in, the impact that you're all making. So, I think we're learning from each other.
Yeah.
But I'm very appreciative of where you all have allowed me to go and the things that you've poured and instilled in me. So,
well, we love Leonard.
Oh, we love
Yeah, I
you.
really do.
We love
I
you.
mean it.
Love
The most.
you, and shout out to Anderson 5.
That's right. Anderson
There we
5.
go.
That's
There
right.
we go. There we go. But Leonard, this podcast is all about real conversations about some hot topics in education. And when we were talking with Leonard before this about the topic that we're going to be discussing on today's episode, Leonard goes, "Oh yeah, that's hot. That's hot. That's necessary." Because today we're going to break down kind of two different sides of different priorities. And you've seen this from teacher perspective to assistant principal to principal, now at the district level, assistant superintendent. You're dealing with this every day. And it really seems countrywide. I don't know if I want to say worldwide, because I think other countries have things a little more together with education a little bit, but a priority and kind of a divide on either curriculums or best instructional practices. What we're seeing currently in a lot of districts that we work with, even with our statewide partnership in Indiana, when we're in school seeing it, a lot of priority by a lot of people in a number of different roles is being placed on curriculum, which curriculum should we use? If this one doesn't work, it's out the door. Now we're going to vote on 3 more. We're going to try that.
Exactly.
And we're not seeing the results when maybe should the conversation be, and I don't know, this is kind of something to say because there is something to say about curriculum and kind of the standard it sets it on. Maybe should the priority be flipped onto best instructional practices and the delivery so that any curriculum could happen. So I'm going to kind of let you toss it off. First, talk about your involvement with kind of curriculum at different levels of your career and the priority of it and why it is so important to have that kind of set standard when you're working with teachers in schools.
Well, my most impactful role with curriculum and best practice was as a teacher. You were in every day. And I don't care. And it's unfortunate as you get away from the classroom, from being a teacher, and you're not in it every day, then there are a lot of assumptions that are being made, and they're inaccurate assumptions. But you can't get away from it, obviously. We have to teach and things of that nature. But I feel like we need to make sure that we're concentrating on best practices as much as possible. And the way I look at best practices is that on my very first day of the classroom with my students, I'm learning my students. I need to figure out how can I get this particular student from point A to point B. And I go through that with relationships. I go through that with trying to make the instruction that they're given as relevant as possible. I feel honestly that we need to really do a deep dive in what we're doing and what we're teaching and what we're, because there are some things that we're teaching our kids that one is not applicable to what they're living in. Right. We have to take into the impact of what artificial is. I don't know where we're going with this, but there are so many things that I have in my brain because, like for instance, I remember growing up. And there'll be a salesman that come to our house and sell some encyclopedias. I don't know if y'all remember. Okay.
There's all kinds of things that you knock on our door.
But there are still some folks who are living in that world. They don't realize that in our hand, we hold an encyclopedia that is updated hourly by minute or whatnot.
That is
so are we utilizing that as much as we possibly can? Artificial intelligence, to be honest with you, has changed my life. In my current role as the director of human resources, I'm constantly looking to that to look up policy. I'm constantly looking at that to summarize meetings I'm having with folks. And I think sometimes people shy away from that because they see it as the kids are cheating.
Yeah.
Well, how can we teach them how to appropriately utilize artificial intelligence? Anyway, going back to what I was talking about in regards to best practice, I think our focus should definitely be more so on that. Curriculum, unfortunately, has become very political.
Yes, it has.
In the world that we're living in now is very political because we have folks on all sides of the aisle who would like to push some type of agenda. And I hope I don't get in trouble for any of these things.
We have all kinds of conversations. This is
I ain't trying to get you in trouble with your job either.
That's right. Exactly. So we need to cut some stuff we can. But it's true. But I mean, we have a political, this is a political year in regards to a new president and things of that nature. And, sometimes people a little bit more vocal about things that would normally be. But I feel like best practices should be really one of our points of concern because that's the best way to move our kids forward from point A to point B. It goes with relationships. It goes with teaching them how to utilize and what works best in the classroom. I feel like our teachers learn best from each other. Like when you go into a classroom and see, I've done this as a principal. I see a teacher may be struggling. Well, let's go next door because it's one thing for me to say something to them, but it's another for their co-teacher to say something to them, just like kids. Kids learn better from each other than they do from us. So anyway, best practice is more the things that I would feel as a more effective manner of instructing our kids.
Well, okay, let's use, this is not the direction that I was going to go with my question, but then listening to you, first of all, I'm just curious where everybody leans here. Do we feel like education by the day, sometimes by the second, is becoming more and more political? And because of the politics involved, do we feel like this is why we've seen such a decline in the systems of education because it's no longer about the kids, it's about pushed agendas within the system? I don't know. That's not even...
I feel like people who are making decisions on things that teachers are the ones who are doing it are not in the know or in tune with what's happening and are pushing things forward, and it's falling into other people's laps who are making it work because they have to make it work because a piece of paper was signed saying this is what's going to happen and this is why. And a lot of the pushback that we're seeing from teachers to admin, teachers to district, teachers to state is really not to that person at all, but to someone completely unassociated, unremoved, that is putting their own personal beliefs before what's actually best for students. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, yes, but...
Well, because too, the easier choice for those who are not in the classroom every single day, right? So looking at whether it be a board member or, again, whether it be someone involved in, political stance.
And let's clarify, not even in a classroom every day, some never in a classroom ever in their life too. Okay, that's another issue. Maybe not even working in a school building ever.
Correct. I just feel like I'm constantly trying to understand, why is a shift in curriculum always the answer? And now that I'm starting to understand, because with our work that we've had in the state of Indiana, we have truly seen it from the state level all the way down to the student level. And I feel like a lot of times what we are learning about the decision-making process of education, and obviously this is a state-by-state basis, but the people making the decision, they're not in the classrooms every single day. So the easiest choice for them is to look at these 4 curriculums that are presented, and that's an easy answer, versus truly understanding the intricacies, what is happening on a day-to-day basis with teacher-student relationships, with best instructional practices, and recognize that sometimes the answer doesn't lie in the curriculum, even though that's the easiest option to make a change. The answer is much deeper than that. And that's why I feel like, again, just from our perspective of what we've seen from the top down, I feel like that's become the easy out.
And also, to play devil's advocate that on a little from a outsider kind of standpoint, and even as an administrator, I think we can all agree, and coach, and what this looks like. Sometimes, and just the state of education we're in right now, there is not a withedness to be able to deliver those best practices in a way. So I think an answer to that, like Hope was saying, is a curriculum, because if not, we have no idea what chaos may ensue in some classrooms. Now, I'm sure the listeners who are listening here, they have it together. They have that witness, what they're doing, because they are part of this community, but that is not the norm of education. And I think we can all agree, we've been in many classrooms where there are people in that classroom that how they ended up there, not sure. Maybe they thought this was their calling, and they need some sort of, let's say, script, basil, something to make it happen. So I think there is still a priority on that curriculum that is needed for a lot. I would maybe say the majority of teachers, it's just the abandoning of all best practices and delivery that we still need to focus on. Because I think maybe if we like rewind in time, we could say when we were maybe even in student teaching or fresh out of there, that state of education, there were a lot of teachers that kind of, you had what you had to teach, you found out how you were going to teach it, you presented it. Maybe there wasn't a curriculum, maybe there was, but it was that kind of passion for it, that hunger to create lessons. Now, I don't even see a lot of planning going into a lot of lessons of teachers, just in the state of where education is at, that without and I can't even say solid curriculum because we know that, I don't know if that exists, but without something there and a priority of that, there needs to be more, is the conversation there.
Because Leonard, you've been in this game a very long time.
Thank you.
In many different roles.
Not to, I'm not.
I think that was an old joke.
That was a compliment.
I appreciate
that.
From the wisdom that you've
seasoned.
Very seasoned educator.
So Leonard, in the 1800s, what curriculum looked like back in the day? When you were a wee little boy in Anderson 5.
No, but do you?
When the dinosaurs were the chickens and the chickens were the dinosaurs.
Yes.
You know about Harry Wong.
Oh my God. No, hey.
I love Harry Wong, though.
Okay, I read that book in college.
Yeah.
No, but what have you noticed? Let's kind of start.
Okay.
I think that we all have just a lot of feelings, and I know that you talked about education becoming political, and I'm just like, oh, like that. I feel like that's such a hot spot in education.
That's right.
But what have you noticed instructionally? Because I know that I have seen a massive shift. And of course, it's going to cycle, right? We know it's going to go in a circle. But what have you noticed instructionally from your time in the classroom to then transitioning to administrator to district office level in that time frame that you have spent as a seasoned educator?
You know, fortunate enough, I had an opportunity to go to round tables across the state, and so I'm able to listen to what other directors and assistant superintendents are saying about their staff. So what I'm getting to say is not just applicable to the school district I work in, but
Right.
I feel like our teachers not as prepared as we were coming out. I don't know if they have the work ethic.
Okay.
This is some folks. This is just a small.
We need an episode on that.
But I don't mind being told.
Write it down. Episode on work ethic. Write it down.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily mind being told no, but sometimes there are folks who have a hard time with being told no.
And receiving criticism.
Yes, exactly. And it's constructive criticism. It's not, listen, because the thing about it, as an administrator, I want you to do well, because you know what? My name's on that school report card.
That's right.
So I'm going to tell you what you need to listen, what you need in order to make improvement. But sometimes there's a sense of entitlement. Like, I mean, listen, I saw it on, this is the mindset. Well, I saw it on TikTok, so no has to work. No, just because you saw it on TikTok doesn't necessarily mean the best practices or whatnot.
Right.
So if there was a more, I wish we had individuals who are really quick to listen and not be so quick to give a rebuttal. You know, we've been fortunate at School District 5 where we have some veteran teachers who retired and they're still coming back. And I applaud them. Matter of fact, this year has been one of the biggest years where we have folks who retired to come back. And I love that because we don't need to lose out on that.
Right.
But then at the same time, we have some teachers to come out of college with some fantastic ideas that can assist our veterans and those things. But there's still a mindset out there in regards to I need to get off at 3:30. I'm not taking my laptop home with me. I just couldn't do that as a
Really?
as a
Down here,
I mean,
it's
as a
like
teacher.
that?
Yeah.
Because that's something we've talked about too, just like the work ethic or whatnot. And we get you need to kind of separate personal and professional life as much as you can, but you also got to get the job.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
We've seen it a lot, that mentality a lot in these states we've worked with where unions are huge.
Yes.
Unions down here are not.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
That's right. It's not. It's not a
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So, and it's that mentality of that factory mindset to where no, my time doesn't start until 8:10,
Yes,
and my time ends at 3:00.
Yeah.
And so they don't show up, even though kids may be out there. And so that's unique to hear, and it's interesting to hear. That's the mentality now too, to where no, that's where I'm supposed to, which is kind of, yes, we need to be cognizant of that and respectful of that, but also we still got to get the job done. So that's very interesting. So I think it could be a generational.
It is. I see them on
Like
son,
thing.
my son, and I don't mind saying that he can listen to this. But I can see them on son. It's one of that. The mindset is, how can I get to this level overnight?
Yes.
And that we know that doesn't happen.
How long we been at this?
Exactly. Because when I went to college,
1800s for Leonard.
that's all.
Let's talk about work ethic. Hang on. Let's talk about work ethic real quick, because this is how he and I really connected.
Yeah.
He was married at 18.
That's right.
Going to school.
Yeah.
You were working night shift.
I worked at New
Third
Foundations, and then I would go to college, and then work at the YMCA.
Yes.
And now, granted, one of the things that my wife and I did that was smart is that we waited for about 5 years or so before we had Bradley.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we had bills to pay,
Right.
and fortunately, she was there to support me in regards to, because it could be a situation where, the mindset from her could have been, you didn't make up your mind what you're gonna do. I don't got time for this. You need to. No. But luckily, because she supported me and my family, I remember when I went back to college, I went and asked my grandmama, I went and asked my mama, I asked my sister-in-laws, because when I graduated from AU with my teaching degree, then we had Bradley. Then I decided to go back to school to get my admin degree. But I went and asked all my family, because my wife was working all day, do y'all mind if I go back to college? Because if I go back to college, that means that y'all gonna have to put in and help with Bradley. Because going back to that family piece, I can't, listen, I'm not where I'm at today. You all, I don't want to tell your testimony, but everybody know it. Listen, your mom, Pam,
Right.
we need family.
That's right.
So I don't take that for granted. But yeah, that work ethic, I just feel like this generation, that's something that they need improvement in. And hopefully we have those veteran teachers in our buildings that can just show them the best way to get whatever goals they may have. To understand that this doesn't happen overnight, and you're gonna have to put some, get some callus on your hands and things of that nature in order to get there. So
Because whether you use a curriculum or you focus on best practices, which we know it's a combination shared piece of both.
that's right.
Like that's what we need to be seeing in the classrooms. I feel like that's a lot of times why curriculum is failing, because with a lack of work ethic,
That's right.
what's the easy answer? Oh, they told me. And then these messages, this is how we're receiving messages. My district told me to use this curriculum to fidelity, which means I start on lesson 1. I do everything
Read this
that lesson
script. I
1
read this
says.
script.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, whether my kids mastered that or not, or even if I know or not, because it might not have had a formal assessment piece that I'm trying to give, then I'm going to move on to lesson 2, and then lesson 3. and then
Welcome to
four,
lesson
and-
3. I am your teacher.
It's the AI.
Two, a big piece of that when it comes to curriculums and following to fidelity, and I think that we could all probably agree on this, and this might also be a generational thing. So this is why I love this space, because I think it's so powerful when you can notice patterns and trends across the board in education.
Yeah.
But also, looking at, again, that lesson by lesson mentality or basis, the 4 of us in this room, one thing I know to be true about us, we while I am an avid rule follower in life, when it came to my impact that I had on children, if I had to break the rule for what was best for them, that is what I was going to do. And I feel like this new generation of teachers, they're so scared to break the rules, but also like, I don't know, that's causing, again, I think that misstep or that disconnect in curriculums because we're just following a routine versus making decisions based on what's best for the children that we're delivering that to.
And I think also going back to what you were saying about veteran teachers before, I think, and I know from experience, I have been in this as well as new teachers are coming in and turnover is high. A lot of schools, a lot of veteran teachers are feeling like, I don't have time to babysit. I don't have time to do this. I've been doing this for how many years now? 25, 30 years, a lot of them. I'm just going to take
They know curriculums are going to come and go.
That's right. That's what we do in education.
They've almost lost that kind of, they're going to do what they need to do in their classroom, but that kind of what we had of the mentors, like you were saying with Wade, that reaching out, that supporting, even within PLCs in a lot of schools, which can be so transformative. And I've seen it in action where it's really moving to school, have turned to check a box and move on and not what are we actually talking about here and what are we going to do to get results? And it's just not that collaborative kind of environment across the board. Now, there are pockets of it everywhere, of course, but I think that also is a huge play in when we're talking about curriculum. We're saying, okay, in planning meetings and PLCs, tomorrow we are doing lesson 14 from XYZ math curriculum. It's about this. This is how we're going to do it. Great. And then never going back to how are we going to do it? What are we going to present to it?
Or how effective it was.
Or how effective it was. Or maybe maybe we don't even need to do this lesson. Maybe they don't. Maybe this isn't even a standard. A lot of curriculums don't even do tougher standards.
As a teacher, I loved being told this is the curriculum that you have to follow. They told me this is the math curriculum I have to follow.
It's always been a big curriculum.
That is great because I don't have to think about that.
Right.
I'm not knowledgeable in that. That allows me to do that, but then that also allows me to bring that work ethic into what you were talking about.
Yeah.
To bring it to life and have fun with my kids and I build those relationships because the hard part's already done. You told me to do that. That's on you if this doesn't work.
Because I think people think that following a curriculum to fidelity means you read every word from the script.
Some people mean that. I mean, I think the curriculum should be enrichment. It should be an additional resource.
Yes.
That I can go to if I want to start on page 1 on Tuesday, and then I need to go to page 53 on Thursday or whatnot on the next day.
Right.
It shouldn't be, but you said something when you mentioned mentor. One thing we try to work with, especially our new teachers, giving them, each one of them, a mentor.
Yeah.
To someone that can give those best practices and give those tips, and somebody that's just not going to be negative either. I mean, that's not going to someone that's at the water cooler just talking bad about the school and, hindering their vision. So that mentorship is so powerful. I have folks that I reach out to quite often, and that relationship was built. I mean, I know we keep going back to the relationship, but the key to education is relationships. Kids do not learn from people they do not like. Oh my gosh.
That's
and
right.
so adults don't learn from people they don't like either.
That's
So if I don't like you, I don't really care what you're trying to tell me.
It's gotta meet me where I'm at least.
I don't care what it is.
Gotta meet me where I'm at.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so true. And I forget what I was about to say. I was about to say something.
Well, I got something
Okay, go ahead.
because it's something you mentioned earlier about observing and looking at other teachers and best practices, Leonard.
Yeah.
It sounds well and good, and you were able to do that when you were a principal. Now you're at the district level. How do you ensure, or what advice could you give to other leaders or principals out there to allow that time to be a lot? Like, how does that work? Because a teacher listening to this could be like, that'd be awesome if I could see so and so.
That's right.
But how is that happening in the day?
And I'm going to tack on to that because here's what I was going to say. Where are best practices learned? They're not learned in a college room. They're learned in the classroom. So you're going to learn those best practices from veteran teachers.
Yeah.
So how do we get that newer generation of teachers that and this is not to isolate everybody. We all know this is not to isolate every new teacher and say that every new teacher is part of this.
That's right. Sure. Not at all.
But how do we get those newer teachers into the classrooms of solid veterans? Because we also know that some veterans are ready to be done.
That's right.
And they shouldn't be seen at all.
Exactly.
But
Which I don't blame them.
Right. But how do we get new teachers into these classrooms of veteran teachers so that, yes, we're providing them with this curriculum.
That's right.
And what we mean by teaching to fidelity is doing everything in your power to help students master what they need to master. How do we get them into these classrooms?
It starts with intentionality, to be honest with you. That means that me as the principal need to go down there and cover your class right quick so you can go and sit in this other teacher's class and learn it, and that's what I need to do. It's going to take a shared, first of all, it's take a vision. The administration and that school is going to have to work together to ensure that the teachers are successful, because when the teachers are successful, the kids are successful. And if we're supposed to be in this for the kids, then we need to do everything and not let anything be an excuse for giving our teachers the support and the resource they need, whether that is a professional development, whether it's going down the hallway, or whether it's going across the district to another school. We know folks. We're connected. Even going to another district if that's what it takes. But the teachers are going to have to, they're going to have to meet us halfway. They're going to have to want to do better.
Yeah.
They will have to realize that what I'm doing, well, I'm in education to impact kids, to teach kids, and I need to make sure that I have all the resources in my tool belt to ensure that our kids are going to learn.
Listen, anytime, I cannot even tell you how much better of a teacher I have become by being able to go into so many classrooms and watch other teachers in this journey. So also, then we get a lot of questions from administrators, especially the administrators that we work with in their buildings of, I would love to, because one of the biggest things we say is when you find someone who has mastered a best practice, you don't had to have mastered every best practice.
That's right, of course.
But that's what your school needs, that one thing. Send everybody to that room and let them watch it in action with kids. And the follow-up question is always, I want to do that, but then I'm going to make all of these other teachers feel bad or like and then I'm causing teachers to feel like it's a gotcha. And I'm like, where is this mentality shaping from? When if I have the opportunity to go watch anyone teach, I am going to soak every single bit of that up.
That's right.
So what is your advice to administrators who don't want to pit their teachers against one another?
I feel like everybody has something unique, a unique set of skills they can bring to the table. And so your unique set of skills may not be teaching the Pythagorean theorem. It may be something else. But as a leader, you need to know what your teacher's unique set of skills are, because there will be an opportunity for you to be the model teacher. It may not be today. Yeah. But we all are on the same team. And so I think it starts with the culture of the school, having that shared vision that, hey, over here at this particular school, and there's some friendly competition amongst other schools.
Yeah.
And that's tricks. And as long as it's healthy, that's good. Yeah. But in order for us to beat our rival school across the district, everybody needs to play their part. Right. Everybody needs to bring their best to the table at all times, because you will be the one that's going to. But I'm not just going to let anybody come into your classroom to watch you teach if you're not ready, if you're not doing what you should be doing. So, I mean, one of my favorite professors, Dr. Heath from Furman, he says, what does love have to do with it? I mean, I may love you, but I'm not going to just change everything and allow folks just to come into your room just so I can make you feel
good. And right.
Oh, man.
And you know what? I think, too, that I'm just going to talk about from the administrator standpoint and from the teacher standpoint, because if I'm an administrator, you need to know what you're sending your teachers into that classroom to see.
That's right.
For example, Leonard, if you were a part of my school or I was in your school working with you as a teacher, I would want everybody to come and watch you specifically for how you cultivate relationships.
That's right.
But I want them to go in with your classroom, not just go watch Leonard teach.
Specific.
Leonard is one of the most effective educators when it comes to cultivating relationships. You're not going in there to look for everything. I want you to go in there and look for that.
Specific. Zone in on that.
Because
you're right.
then I can take specific, actionable takeaways of things that you did specifically for relationships and then say, where can I modify?
That's right.
Now, if you're a teacher in a building that your administrator is not one to take that initiative to send teachers into other classrooms, I think one of the most humble places that you can be as an educator is to know the strengths of other teachers in your building, because that's only going to make you a better educator.
Exactly.
And that's where you can step up to your administration and say, hey, I noticed that Chris across the hall, when it comes to rigor and pacing, he has got rigor and pacing down. He gets through stuff so much faster than I do. And no, I'm not going to sit here and say his kids are higher than mine. No, I'm going to recognize that as an incredible strength that he has.
That's right.
Can I please go to his classroom for 45 minutes, watch a lesson, and take note of what he's doing when it comes to pacing? Because even if that helps me on my pacing 5%, my best practices are improving, which means that my curriculum is becoming more effective.
That's right.
So those two things have to go hand in hand, but it takes humility of us as leaders, as educators, to say, I'm not the best at everything. I can learn from other people in my building to enhance my best instructional practices so that my curriculum does its job. But a curriculum will not be the game changer.
Ego.
The human responsible for that curriculum will be the game changer.
Well, you said humility. I mean, ego and pride should not be in any of our schools at all.
No.
If we want to get better, I mean, we need to celebrate each other. You know, public education is already getting a lot of, beatings out
We have
there.
enough.
Yeah, we
I call them
do.
the strangers, the people who don't spend any time in the schools.
That's right.
But have a lot
so
to
let's
say.
not do it to ourselves.
That's
you know,
right.
let's all work together to be a better version of ourselves. So,
Yeah.
Something when I taught in Harlem that I thought was incredible. Just the setup they had was very operational, very like almost you would see a business run. They accepted anyone as a teacher who wanted to work for them. But no matter what, whether you've been teaching for 5 years or you went to school for education or you're fresh out of college in a business degree or whatever it might be, you were an associate teacher first. So you were having a full year minimum, maybe even 2 years as that almost intern, as that almost kind of apprentice almost, if you will, regardless of what you went to college for, because they found that even if you went to college for education, you're not learning those best practices in action with kids. You're going to be an associate teacher first once they see, and some teachers, they would make it to December and they would be like, okay, we're promoting you up to a lead teacher because we see that impact, but they had to do that kind of on-the-job field experience. Now, they were getting a full paycheck. It was their full-time job. It was not your student teaching. It was very different. They have some of the most effective teachers. Most of them, the majority, did not even go to school for education. So they have no college background in it. They never did an internship. But what they did was they were learning from some of the best along the way. And now they can take that and transform it everywhere. So more opportunities for...
So what does that mean? Was it like, was it co-teaching or like, what's the associate teacher? So if I get hired as associate teacher, what's my role?
So it's essentially what you would do. You would gain...
I have my own classroom or no?
No, you're you're a lead teacher full time, and you gain more responsibilities as you go. So you might say, okay, you're only doing the read aloud today. Then you're going there, you're planning all the planning meetings,
like a
you're
gradual
learning
release of students.
gradual release. It's like a student teaching experience, but you're getting a full paycheck, you're getting paid. Doesn't matter your background, because we know, honestly, a lot of student teaching and internships, that's not enough time in the classroom. You're not even there for some of the critical conversations because you're going back and doing your coursework. You have classes you still need to do. You have to submit this paper on this. All these, I remember all the lesson plans we had to submit of different things for different courses while you're student teaching, and all these assignments you're still doing.
Yeah.
I just need to know how to teach this group of kids, but we have teachers entering the profession, first day of school, brand new job. They have no idea even where to start with best practices now because they haven't had that experience.
And we're seeing the influence of that. First of all, I think people like that, they really have a heart for teaching.
Yeah.
For you to go in and not be in full pay and things like that, you still come back.
But I'd rather somebody with a heart for teaching than somebody
I
who's
would too.
and
I
has
agree.
no desire to
But we have
kids.
a lot of folks in our district. Not just our district, but the state coming in on the alternative certification, similar to what you said. And I appreciate it because we have some openings that still need to be filled, and we have. I'm not gonna go through names, but we try to in our district support them.
Well, if you want to go through now, you might find some great teachers.
That's right. So we have PACE teachers tomorrow, American Board, but we try to provide additional support because, as you mentioned, they did not go through student teaching.
Yeah.
We give them an induction year, but we provide something different than what we would normally do with induction teachers. Provide them with best practices, give them a mentor as well because they didn't have that experience. So, but I appreciate it. I mean, if you want to come in education, we accept you. We're going to give you one of the things. This is my mindset on it all is that, we unfortunately have folks leave education within the first, second, or third year.
Yeah.
If you leave our district, it's not going to be because of lack of support. We're going to give you as much support as we possibly can because they need it. We want, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're successful, our kids are successful. It's all about the kids.
That's right.
All about the kids.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, for the curricular best practices, I feel like I kind of land on it's really, your curriculum is only as effective as the human being delivering it.
Right.
So the curriculum falls flat without best practices.
That's right.
But best practices without intentionality behind your teaching and where you're trying to move kids is also going to fall.
I mean, I 100% agree with that. I mean, and just kind of bringing it full circle. I mean, Leonard, that's the first thing you said about me when I walked into your classroom as a practicum teacher, that I was a student of those students and trying to build those relationships. But that was because I'd already seen what you did, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do now, and then she either with Get Your Teach On without even knowing that. And that's why I think having a curriculum, that's the easy part.
That is.
But you have to be humble enough to learn those best practices and those relationships and how that works, and be humble enough to
You don't work for the curriculum. You make the curriculum work for you and your kids.
That's
like,
right.
I think that's the
Students
shift
of your students.
in mindset that we have to see is that is a resource and, like you said, a resource to ultimately drive us with intentionality of what we're teaching to get kids where we want them to go. But that curriculum isn't going to build those relationships.
That's right.
That curriculum isn't.
You can be the
gonna-
smartest person all day, but you
That's
can't
right.
teach kids squat.
Yeah.
Can I share a quick story real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was teaching fourth grade because I was downstairs in the basement. Anyway, had a kid named Macarius Crawford. So we're in fourth grade standards was teaching about slavery. So we had a debate. In Nivet 4 is primarily African American school. So of course it's gonna be easy for my African American kids to be against it. Well, I need some African American kids to be for it. So I had, when going back to the relevance of education and our standards and things of that nature. So Macarius got up and he said, man, I don't like black people, but I need my money. So the way he made that connection to slavery and the economic impact to it, and that goes back to the relevancy. I had a great relationship with Macarius, good kid. I was able to loop with him from my first year to my second year, but I just don't feel like kids will be able to openly say things like that had they not had a safe space to say it.
That's right.
I did my student teaching and teaching at Nevis Forest. I could not have done that.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't have because, number one, I would have felt uncomfortable with that. Number two, it wouldn't have been a safe space. And then obviously, I'm white.
Yeah.
As a white man. So, but it's a unique perspective of knowing your students and trying to understand how to make them feel safe. That's something that I've always seen from you. That's what I've seen you do with the teachers that worked for you. And now that's what I see all around you. I mean, everyone feels safe and it's
something that a curriculum
special.
Can never.
That's the secret sauce.
That's right. That's right.
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
An environment where they first feel safe, seen, heard.
Fact.
Then we can build.
Then you can teach them.
That's right.
Then we can,
Yeah,
Right.
as we wrap up, one of my most incredible administrators always said there are things that are tight and things that are loose that we're doing here. Some things that are tight, student relationships,
That's right.
student safety,
Wow.
this engagement. These are things that this is not going to change room to room. The things that are looser, how are you going to deliver that curriculum? What are you going to do here? Yes, we may be using the same text or the same Basel or the same math curriculum. That's going to be a little looser than some of the things that we have to keep tight.
That's right.
So just that mindset has always carried with me and I'm sure it's from somewhere that you got it from. But
Lanisha actually talked about it the other day.
oh, no way.
In our group thread. It was the day that we had 575 messages and you were doing something.
Yeah, literally 700. But that has always stuck with me. And even in meetings, as staff meetings, you say, these things are tight. This is a non-negotiable. This is happening for kids. This is why it's happening. These are going to be your loose. And just setting that expectation for teachers was powerful. We were
like
like,
that, Chris.
okay, I get it. I have the flexibility here. And I know that if anyone comes in my room or this is the expectation it's set, it's very clear. And I'm going to be willing to do that. So I just think it's just
So again, bonus
those
points if
conversations.
your administrator is leading that ship where they are talking about they're tight and loose.
Yeah.
But if not, you said it for yourself.
Correct.
Right.
Think,
Yeah,
if
easily.
something is your priority again, and you feel like you're not mastering it successfully in the classroom, find someone in your building. I guarantee you there's somebody who is tight with that
That's right.
and who can show you how.
I'm going to use an illustration. This microphone stand, it's tight, right?
Is this another dinosaur?
It is.
I don't know. That's how it starts.
And this microphone,
Or anywhere it started.
this microphone is loose, so it moves wherever I need it to move. But this is always the foundation.
Yeah.
If this were loose, it'd fall apart. Not saying it's not.
Slow clap, slow clap, slow clap.
We love it. We love it. Well, Leonard, thank you so much for joining us.
This was fun.
Let everyone know where they can follow you on social media and things like for.
So you can
And if
follow
you're
me.
hiring,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
that part. Anderson5.net. But you can follow me at LCG.edu.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you, Leonard. Make sure you tune in
y'all.
every Monday for brand new episodes of The Flip Side, breaking down all the hot topics in education. We can't wait to see you. We hope you have a great week. Bye, guys.